Those who keep returning to this channel already know. It doesn't grow like a spectacle, but like self-awareness. Slowly, yes, but with a steady sense of its limits, its effects, the triggers it sets off, and the reactions it provokes. And it's curious, or maybe inevitable, that the bursts of outrage that flare up here, shouting, "AI slop," or "This is just AI generated," have such a familiar tone. They're not new. They echo the same historically recognizable patterns. Panic and epistemic collapse dressed up as disdain. The louder the outrage, the more it reveals, not about artificial intelligence, but about those who no longer know how to defend themselves. Not against AI, against anyone. Because what's missing is not some special immunity to technology. What's missing is a clear epistemic attitude, the ability to sustain a claim, to evaluate meaning, to check sources, to reason through disagreement without collapsing into noise. So when they scream AI, what they're really screaming is, "I don't know how to justify my judgments." And that is what this video is about. This is a reflection on what trolls can't touch, the autonomy of reason and the quiet power of propositional content. The thesis you have to learn if you are here. A proposition, if true or meaningful, carries the means of its own defense. Even a false proposition has epistemic dignity if it knows the limits of its reach. That is, if it contains the awareness of what it does not yet prove. It carves out meaning by knowing what it can and cannot claim. Its self-awareness is precisely the boundary it does not pretend to cross. To assert a proposition is not just to describe a possible state of affairs, it's to take a stand. A proposition is not only what can be true or false in some model, it's also the object of an epistemic attitude. It reflects not just meaning but integrity, the clarity of what one knows, and the honesty of what one knows they do not. In a world saturated with ambiguity, performative disagreement and epistemic fog, we often forget that certain features of intentional and propositional processes perform a quietly miraculous task. They cut through the noise. Not by pressure or persuasion, but by the self-grounding clarity of their own form. Even propositions that model subtle distinctions between mere fiction and conceptual content are still assessed only through the propositional domain. What may seem like a limitation, that there are no extra propositional parameters, is in fact the very strength of this system, because what undermines truth is not a lack of external validation, but the illusion that irrational noise should count as legitimate judgment. The sophist, the troll, the performative contrarian, they hold no sway over the propositional form. Why? Because the only way to judge a proposition is with another proposition. And that is precisely what they lack. What I'm articulating here isn't just a personal stance. It echoes a lineage of thinkers who understood that meaning, truth, and justification must be internal to language and reason itself. I'm in conversation with Frege, who showed that logic is anchored in the success conditions of thought, that to think clearly is to give a proposition enough structure to be judged, retrieved, and shared across any context that grasps its content. With Plato, who revealed that sophistry cannot touch real reason, that thought is not corrected by error, but by ideas thinking ideas, in the quiet rigor of dialectic. And perhaps, above all, I stand with those who knew to defend the proposition is not to close thought, but to discipline it, to shelter it from the chaos of empty rhetoric, and to let it speak precisely from within. Because in the face of noise, trolling, and performative dismissal, what we need is not louder speech, but more thinking. The argument is that reason is not just a method. It is a closed semantic circuit. One can't critique a proposition from outside of the propositional space, because to do so is to forfeit justification. The only way to judge a proposition is with another proposition. And that's why trolls, contrarians, and performative critics fail. They lack propositional commitment, and therefore have no valid means of criticism. Their rejection is noise, not counter-argument.